both things.
Yes. Things we liked, things we hated, things were eh.
Let's see. Well, things we like. I personally, I mean, I've spent all weekend watching documentaries. So I have like a really long list of documentaries I liked from this year. I I like my documentaries about dance. And
Ah,
I
that's
like to
fine.
watch people who are very, very good at something and very, very passionate about it do the thing. Like that's just so
Mm,
appealing to me. Like watching like Jiro Dreams of Sushi or
yeah.
Ballerina, which is about five Russian prima ballerinas, or Le Étoile, which is about French ballerinas, or Jig, which I just watched, which is about Irish dancers, or Rehab Addict, which is a show about a woman who restores old houses. Like, I just like watching shows about people and movies about people who are really, really good at something that they love. And then you just watch them do the thing. It's like, wow, you really love this and you're so good at it. Yay!
Yeah, it is kind of fascinating, if only because I don't think I have that that I don't have that. I don't have
Really?
a thing where it's like,
You don't? I thought that was how you loved writing.
well, okay, yeah, maybe writing, I guess. All right, fine, I do have a thing, but no one would want to watch me write.
I mean, mine's not particularly photogenic either because mine's criticism, but like, is he mean? But I know I totally have that. Like, when you're doing the thing that you love and that you know you're good at, and you just like you feel like you're flying because you're just so good at the thing you love. It's a very nice feeling.
It's also interesting just to see how much effort goes into the thing they love.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
you mentioned Jiro's like Dreams of Sushi, and like you find out he spent a year just learning how to make rice. It's like, oh my god.
Or like all these dance documentaries. Like I love ballet. I think ballet is amazing. I did 4 years of ballet as a little girl. I stopped when I realized that it was going to take a much greater physical commitment than I had any intention of making, and also that I was going to grow up and have the wrong body type for it, and I just didn't want to deal with that. Because in ballet you're supposed to be very long and thin, and I grew up not that long, definitely long, but more Amazonian, and and so I just like it's something I've always been interested in, but watching it and going like, yeah, these girls who are prima ballerinas, well, they started dancing when they were about 3, and they kept dancing, and at the age of 9, they entered into a restrictive boarding school where they learned dance and pretty much nothing else. Like they really don't do academics at that school, and they learn dance for the next 7 years, and then they take a final exam which determines their future, and then if they don't get hired by a ballet company, then congratulations, kid, you just spent 10 years of your life
Mm.
doing nothing.
They start imagining they're turning into a bird.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's totally a thing that happens. um but more it's just looking at it and then sort of going like, given the way ballet affects you physically, like it destroys your body, especially for women. Like standing on the tips of your toes destroys your feet, it destroys your legs. Like you need
Mm.
hip replacement surgery. It physically wrecks you. And yet all of these women who know that, who are perfectly aware of the fact that they're going to have arthritis by the time they're 40, are like, I don't care. I love to dance. This is the best thing in the world to me. And then just sort of understanding like, okay, so you get hired when you're 17 or 18 onto a ballet. Well, then you're in the corps de ballet. And then maybe if you're lucky, within a couple of years, you'll get promoted to choreography. And then if you're very lucky, you'll become a soloist. And if you are exceptional, maybe you will become a prima ballerina. But there are, at any given time, only a handful of prima ballerinas in the world. Because there's maybe one or two per major company. And major companies, like there's not a lot of them. There's like maybe one or two in each country. And
Yeah.
so you got to think like if you want to be a prima ballerina, if you want to be one of the best in the world, well, congratulations. Like you have to beat everyone else in the world. And yet they devote their lives to this. And so I don't know, I really like watching it. And then your career's over by the time you're 40 because your body just physically can't do it anymore. Like imagine dedicating so much of your life to that and knowing that by the time your lifespan is only half over and you can't do it anymore. And you've never done anything else.
Mm. It's like being a professional athlete, only way more intense.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like way, way more intense. Um, yeah. So it was really interesting. I don't know. That's one of the reasons I like dance documentaries so much is because it's this whole world that I have no experience of, but that I find so interesting. So, so yeah. So I watched a lot of good documentaries this weekend. I also watched one on Glow, which was pretty awesome. Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, the TV show.
Oh, okay.
There's a whole documentary about it, and it's really interesting. But yeah, anyway, I suppose we should actually talk about pop culture stuff that we liked and didn't like this year.
Yeah.
The stuff I love that I never talk about on my website because I don't have anything to say about it. Well, clearly this year I liked The 100. Just gonna put that out there. Clearly I liked that this year because I fell into a big pit of yay on that one. Orphan Black this year was awesome. I have to say one of the big winners for the year for me was CBC, Canadian Broadcast Company, because they put out, like, they're one of the partners in Orphan Black, I think. But they also put out Strange Empire, which is amazing.
I have not heard of this.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Well, because it's a Canadian production and it's not really gained any traction in the States yet, which is a shame. Because
Yeah, but I usually hear about like something.
yeah, it's a feminist Western.
Hmm.
It very much goes into like most Westerns that you see are explorations of masculinity, which is fine. But after a certain point, you're like, I feel like the masculinity has been very well explored and possibly mapped. There's not anything new I have to say about this. But this is an exploration of like femininity in the wild. And so the main characters are all exploring different aspects of what does it mean to be a frontierswoman. And so it's a Western about women and about women's experiences in these times and about, the problem with sexual violence in a world where the gender ratio is so off and where culturally women are supposed to be so reliant on their husbands. Well, that creates really big systemic problems. Like in the very first episode, all of these different groups are in a wagon train heading out to settle in Canada, and then they're attacked by Indians, and all the men are killed, leaving a bunch of women. And the only person who takes them in is the guy who owns the brothel. Because, oh look, now we got a new crop of whores. And it very, very much examines the ways in which these women have to learn how to remake their lives out in the middle of nowhere. So it's really good. And it's just really fun. Like it's just, there's an amazing scene where you see three women and one woman set up as a sniper robbing a wagon train at gunpoint. It's just deeply satisfying. But yeah, with Strange Empire and then with Bomb Girls ending. But that was a brilliant show. And with Orphan Black getting all this notice and attention, I'm starting to come to the conclusion that Canada is really the place to be for good drama about women. And I think that's really interesting. Because you've also got, like, I don't know, I didn't hear anything about The Honorable Woman airing in the US. It is all over CBC. The Honorable Woman starring Maggie Gyllenhaal um, about spy machinations in Israel and like the Israel-Palestine conflict and about, intelligence gathering and, the role of like the role of money in arms trafficking and like all this really interesting stuff with women. And don't really hear about it in American television, but it's all over Canadian TV. So I guess I would say one of the big winners this year. Yay, Canadian television. You are making good stuff about women. And it's not just like, yay, it's about women. It is also, oh, holy crap, this is amazing quality stuff. So that's one of my big winners. Other big winner would be BBC America, because BBC America came up with a lot of good stuff this year. They had Orphan Black, as already mentioned, but they also had The Musketeers, which was really good. Like, really good. And just in general, they have been stepping up their game, and I appreciate it. Even in contrast to BBC, which I think is interesting. So, how about you? Who are your big winners this year?
Let's see. Yeah, I will definitely give it to BBC America. They always produce shows that I enjoy. I have to give it to to network TV, because they have finally decided to maybe put some better shows on. Like, for example, How to Get Away with Murder was very good.
Gosh, yes.
I've been enjoying State of Affairs, despite the fact that people have been like ragging on it. Like,
I haven't actually watched it.
It's pretty good.
Okay.
You will forget how much people hate Katherine Heigl, because she does a good job on this show.
I mean, honestly, I don't really get the hatred for Katherine Heigl, because as far as I can tell, it's literally a case of women aren't supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Like, men are accused of being hard to work with all the time. Christian Bale.
I know.
Like, we have literal proof that Christian Bale is a nightmare to work with, and he still gets work. Yeah. And yet Katherine Heigl is called a little difficult, and she's a very good actress, and I like her.
Yes. But, I mean, like, she does an excellent job on this show, and you know what? I don't care if the CIA says it's not accurate. You know what? It's TV.
Well, and the CIA says a lot of things that aren't accurate that apparently are.
Yeah.
CIA, not really making yourself sound super.
And you know what? I'm kind of glad it's not accurate, because I don't really want to see a TV show that shows us what actually goes on in the actual CIA.
Well, apparently that TV show
that could be downloaded by China.
Actually, I will say, okay, big winner this year, me. Because back in April, I wrote this paper that's like huge and extensive and really, I will honestly say, really well researched, because I put a lot of effort into researching that, about the representation of torture on 24 and Homeland, and like the representation of anti-terrorism agencies post 9/11 in those two shows. And I did all this work finding statistics about how we became desensitized to torture because of those shows, and like that those shows contributed greatly, and that those shows' representations of torture were really, really detrimental and like, had a normalizing effect. And then the torture report comes out, and the level of outrage is like, nah.
Yeah.
And so I was really sad, but at the same time, there's a part of me going, dang right, I'm prescient.
Not just those shows, but also in GTA 5, there's a level where you actually torture someone, like using CIA torture techniques.
I mean,
you waterboard a person.
I'm just going to put in there and just say I'm not touching video games.
Yeah.
I'm not touching. I guess we can say...
True, when it comes to desensitizing people to violence.
Big losers for the year. Video games!
Yeah.
Video games have managed to not come off looking that great. Or rather, I should say, video games look fine. People who play video games not looking very good this year.
Yeah. We have to talk about the whole Gamergate situation.
Okay, I don't play video games. I I am missing whatever little thing in your brain makes video games fun. I don't know why. I live with a video game designer and her husband is like a not even a little bit casual gamer. They're both super hardcore, and for whatever reason, I don't like video games. I respect them. I do.
Fine.
That having been said, I just, as a human being, I have been so disgusted this year with all of the Gamergate stuff. Just the raging misogyny.
I play a lot of video games, and I'm even disgusted. I mean, it's like, well, here's the thing, though. Like, here's the thing that pissed me off most about Gamergate is every time you call them out on something they do, they're just like, it's about ethics and journalism. But then you see, like, how is threatening to kill a woman about ethics and journalism? How is threatening to release her personal information online ethical at all? It's not.
Right, and just, oh my gosh. So yeah, Big Loser
And
this
and
year.
they're always like, free speech. We can't let people censor our free speech. I'm like, but you're attacking this woman for writing an article expressing her free speech.
Well, exactly, and I mean, it goes back to one of the big problems I have, which is people's misunderstanding of the First Amendment.
Yeah.
The freedom of speech means that you can say it, but
Yeah.
it doesn't mean anyone has to listen to you. It means that the government
Yes.
limit you. It does not mean that private corporations can't. And it doesn't mean that you are above censure. So like people saying that Target Australia refused to release GTA 5. Like, they refused to sell it because they're like, this is disgusting. We consider this morally disgusting. We're not going to sell it.
Though in the case of the Target thing, I have to be on the side of people who are against that because at the same time they're saying, well, why don't you ban the Bible in your store because that has violence in it as well.
Okay. No, that's not the same thing, though.
It's totally the same thing.
No, it's not, because in a game you are complicit in creating the violence. In the Bible, read about it. Like.
Okay, but at the same time.
It's because of the different experience of gaming.
Yes.
The difference in experience. And honestly, Target can ban whatever the hell it wants. It's
True.
a corporation. They can ban it just because they think it's ugly. Like, they can ban it because they think the cover art is unattractive. They can because they're a corporation, and who cares? Yeah. And like, you can get upset about it, but who cares?
Yeah. But then you have the right to not shop at Target.
Exactly. And so just in general, the whole Gamergate thing came down on really faulty logic.
It made
malicious misogyny.
It also made just being a gamer like something to be embarrassed about. Like, yeah. I am embarrassed to say I play video games now because I don't want to get lumped in with these psychos.
And I hate to say it, but yeah, you should be embarrassed.
And I'm like, okay, you know what? I've been playing Kingdom Hearts for the past 24 hours. I don't want to be like thought of as some sick, twisted psychopath because I like playing a video game.
Yeah. So I would say that anyone who wants video games to be accepted and respected as an art and a medium had a pretty bad year this year.
Yes. Yes, we did.
Yeah. So, however, I will say, things that had a good year this year, political correctness. This was a really good year for political correctness.
I don't know if you can say it's a good year for political correctness because...
Here's why. While the gaming community was pooping itself, just poop everywhere, Anita Sarkeesian, the main victim of Gamergate and one of the most outspoken critics of the gaming industry, she got on the cover of the New York Times and in Bloomberg Business and Forbes, and like all of a sudden everyone started paying attention to, oh, gaming is really problematic sometimes. Oh, we should pay attention to that. And when you look at the really awful shows that have gotten canceled, by and large, the shows that have gotten canceled in the past year or so have been the ones that are super duper racist and sexist and horrible. Dads got canceled this year. Woohoo! Bob's Burgers became a cultural zeitgeist, and it's an entire show about loving people and being kind to them. And it's also very funny. But,
Oh, yeah.
like, people have started openly admitting that Bob's Burgers is better than Family Guy. Thank goodness. The actual cultural conversation about Meg Griffin on Family Guy became big enough to get mentioned by major news outlets. Like the, hey, why is it funny that we have a teenage girl who's repeatedly abused and that's the punchline on the show? And, you know, this was actually a really good year. Exodus is currently tanking at the box office. One, because apparently it's a really bad movie. And two, because it's a movie about Egypt where every actor is white. And this was a good year for political correctness. In all honesty, this is one of the first years in a long time that, despite all of the genuinely awful crap that happened, the outcome has been awesome. We're actually having good conversations about race and gender in the media. So for me, this has been a good freaking year.
I'll agree, yeah.
As someone who cares a lot about this.
I kind of want to see Exodus.
You do?
Just because
actually,
it looks cool.
I'll be honest, I want to see Exodus, but mostly because I feel like I will enjoy hating it so much. Like I'm just so ready.
And plus, I just want to see their take on the story because, like, I mean, the original Ten Commandments film, I will maintain that is still one of the best movies ever made. What?
No, it's not. It's horrible.
It's a good movie.
I have
From a movie-making standpoint, it's a good movie. Cast of thousands, huge sets.
A cast of thousands and huge sets doesn't make something a good movie. And besides, if we're going to go with best Cecil B. DeMille movie, it's got to be Ben-Hur.
Ben-Hur is
better than
I'm not saying Ben-Hur.
No, Ben-Hur is way better than the Ten Commandments.
Okay.
Especially on emotional stakes levels. If we're talking about a good movie about Moses, gotta go Prince of Egypt. Prince of Egypt.
I will give you. I loved Prince of Egypt.
It is the best movie about that story, and it's really cute how these people thought that they could do a better job, but they can't. It's like Ridley Scott, sweetie. You cast a bunch of white people, and you tried to make it a movie about war and like an action movie, and also Christian Bale as Moses? Sam Worthington as Ramesses? Sigourney Weaver as Tula.
I don't mind the guy they cast as Ramses, because with the shaved head and the makeup, he can kind of pull it off. But yeah, Christian Bale and Sigourney Weaver.
Well, okay, but part of Ridley Scott's argument on why, like, it's totally fine that I cast white actors was, saying, like, well, we couldn't there aren't enough big name actors of color, and you need a big name for this movie to work. And so, if we'd had Muhammad something, that is actually a quote of what he said.
Okay, Ridley Scott's a bit racist. Okay.
Super racist. But his whole premise is, well, we had to have white actors because white actors are famous, and we needed famous actors to anchor this. Why the crap did you pick Sam Worthington? I can name literally one movie Sam Worthington's been in, and it's terrible. It's the Terminator movie. He was in the Terminator movie. Like the fourth one.
He was also in, Avatar.
Was he?
Sam Worthington, yeah. But no, the king's
one
not
remembers him from Avatar.
The guy who's the king is not Sam Worthington.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. It's a different dude.
Okay.
Who looks a lot like Sam
That
Worthington.
makes it even worse. We don't even know who the guy playing him is.
I know who he is. I just don't remember his name. But he's been in he was in The Thing. He was in
Washington. I'm just saying, if your argument is you need to have like recognizable faces to play these characters.
No, I agree.
White man number 47.
And also, but it's the Moses story. You don't need recognizable actors to sell this.
Well, and also, again, no one in that story is white.
Yeah.
No one.
No one. But of course, they're hoping the audience they hope will go to see this are the people who are like, well, yeah, of course they're white. Jesus was white. That's who they're hoping for.
The Jesus was white argument is just one of the hands down stupidest arguments.
Yes, I know. I mean, Jesus was Palestinian. Go to Palestine and find me a white dude.
Well, and also in the physical descriptions they give of God and Jesus, like whenever someone sees God, it's like he had hair like wool. Yeah. Because he wasn't white.
Yes.
Just, yeah.
But no, you're totally right. They could have easily cast recognizable, ethnically appropriate actors.
I mean, like, I'll be honest. I would have taken Sir Ben Kingsley. He's not the right version of not entirely white, but he's less white than who they went with.
Or what was it? I can't remember his name. Saeed from Lost.
Oh yeah.
Could have been an awesome Moses.
In terms of, well, I mean, I was actually thinking of Ben Kingsley for like the first Pharaoh, the old Pharaoh, but
Yeah.
kind of a weird Moses. It's a little old.
I know. I'm just spitting out names of.
No. What's his face? The guy who plays the main Egyptian character.
We'd be great casting this movie, starring what's his face and
okay.
Moses.
Oded Fire. How is Oded Fire not Moses?
Yeah.
Like.
Or Pharaoh.
Or Pharaoh.
Yeah.
Or like heck, I will take Pedro Pascal.
He
would make a
definitely could be.
Or who's the kid who plays the Pharaoh in Night at the Museum? I will take him. He's a
pretty white actor.
What? The kid who plays the Pharaoh? No, he's Egyptian.
Is he?
Yes.
Oh, well, I guess I'm just thinking of like other roles he's done where he plays white, I guess. But no, you're right.
We can name multiple people who would be appropriate for this.
Or we can at least name the roles they were in.
What? Well,
at least we can name the roles they were in.
Look, I'm distracted because my leg is super asleep right now, and it just pins and needles everywhere.
No, but I get what you're saying. Like there are I mean, back in when they made the first Ten Commandments movie, yeah, they cast Charlton Heston, but that's because Hollywood was a small community.
That's because Hollywood was super racist. It was the 50s.
Yeah.
Hollywood was openly racist. Yeah.
But no, I mean, today you have a huge casting pool to pull from. You have the entire Yeah. You can find really good actors for every ethnicity there is.
Well, and here's the other thing. Like, that's even just assuming that we're going with people who look now like what we imagine the Egyptians probably looked like what Egyptians look like today. In reality, if you look at ancient Egyptian art, they were freaking Africans, okay? Like, why are we not casting Djimon Hounsou or Chiwetel Ejiofor? Or, like, let's pull Lupita Nyong'o in to play Zipporah, Moses' wife. Like, why didn't you take Viola Davis, who's having an amazing year, and cast her as Tula, Moses' adopted mother?
I say Viola Davis, cast her in anything. I love her.
I believe we're all agreed on that one.
Just hell, man, even keep the rest of the white cast. Put Viola Davis in there. Just put her in.
No, don't keep the rest of the white cast. Get rid of the white cast.
I know, but you elevate the movie just by having her in.
Yeah, you do. But yeah, so just in general, I'm super annoyed about that. That was definitely not one of my favorite things. However, on the yay moments, Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1 did very well, which is good.
Because it
was an excellent movie. It is pretty rare to get to the third movie in a series and be like, oh, this one's the best one. But it is. It's legitimately the best one so far.
Especially when they split it in half, you're just worried like, what are they?
Especially when you're expecting like it's gonna be like The Hobbit all over again. But no, no, splitting it was actually much
Or
better.
worse, it's gonna be like Breaking Dawn.
Okay, say what you will, Breaking Dawn Part 2 is one of the most entertaining movies of all time. It is.
Okay, I think this conversation is over. We are done.
Patrick, I didn't say good. I said
You said
entertaining.
entertaining, but even that is too kind.
Have you watched it? Because
Yes,
it's
I've watched it.
what?
Yes, I've watched it.
It's hilarious.
Oh yeah, the Vampire X-Men.
Yes. I don't understand how you didn't enjoy this.
You know what? For the movie is terrible just for Michael Sheen's laugh when he sees like the little Renesmee. Ha ha ha! That one moment
For a lot
alone
of other reasons too.
ruins the entire movie.
No, the movie ruins the movie.
Yes, but that's just what always sticks out in my mind about that movie.
But then I will say, in the case of Hunger Games, Mockingjay, the reason it's really impressive is the fact that by splitting the book, they actually managed to save it. Because if they hadn't split the book, then the actual feeling of the book would have been lost. Because the book is about Katniss dealing with PTSD while being forced to act as a figurehead for a revolution she doesn't even particularly want or endorse. And so the book makes it clear of the emotional cost this is taking on her. But if we didn't have this, I mean, if we hadn't split it into two movies, then the danger would be that we just focus on the action set pieces. Like if you don't split that book, then you've just got a number of action set pieces and you pretty much bounce between them because you're trying to fit it into 2 hours. By splitting it into two, they allowed it room to breathe, and they allowed Katniss's character room to develop so that you develop this really strong emotional tie to her. You really care about how wrecked she is because you're given time to see the emotional cost. And so I'm genuinely like, oh, I'm so glad they split this because this way we can really delve into the character stuff, which is what makes this story important. If we don't delve into the character stuff, then it's just an action movie about a revolution, and it completely misses the point, which is that while revolution is oftentimes necessary, it is never easy or objectively good. And I'm really glad that that was a point that was driven home, that there's always a cost. So I'm super glad that that movie did really well because it was so good.
Well, it's not like if it did bad, they weren't going to release the second half.
That is true. They have already filmed that.
For me, something good that happened this year is a lot of teasing for comic book movies.
That is true.
DC finally got off its ass and announced a ton of movies that they're going to do.
Which brings me to my next point, which is the diversity arms race this year was probably
Well, have you seen like Suicide Squad? They cast Will Smith right up as the and they have 2 female members of the squad.
Yep.
So like, they really
this year in the diversity arms race has been amazing, and by that I mean the race between Marvel and DC to see who can have more diverse characters.
Yeah, it's like. Then of course Marvel's like, well, we got Black Panther, we got a black guy starring in our movie, and it's all about him.
Like we got Black Panther and we got Carol Danvers.
Yeah, I know.
Like, well, and DC's coming back with, well, we're gonna have a Wonder Woman movie, and we're gonna have an Aquaman movie starring Jason Momoa.
Though I'm actually writing a blog entry about the Wonder Woman movie that states a lot of my feelings about it. I'm happy it's happening, but at the same time, I'm like, why is it taking till now for it to happen?
Oh, yes. No, trust me, I've had that feeling.
And I actually make a funny, like, Marvel will be releasing the sequel to the movie about the talking raccoon a month before a Wonder Woman movie comes out.
Right, but it is worth pointing out Marvel's not releasing a female-led superhero movie before then.
No.
Theirs is coming in 2018.
But they have had done team movies, and all of their teams have a strong female member.
Yes, they have a lot of Smurfettes.
Yeah.
Smurfettes.
Okay. True.
But the diversity arms race has been a big source of happiness this year.
Yes.
Also, just in terms of comics. The fact that this
Mm.
year alone we announced, like, we got a woman as Thor, we're getting a Spider-Woman standalone comic, the Black Widow comic
Several.
really well.
We're gonna get a couple of Spider-Woman comics.
Well, we have a Spider-Woman lead comic. We're getting Spider-Gwen next year. We're getting Silk next year.
Yes.
Not all Spider-Woman.
Well, like female spider characters
Yes, female spider characters.
in their own title.
Gamora is going to be leading her own comic next year. She's going to get her own standalone. Elektra and She-Hulk both had standalones this year. They didn't do very well, so they were canceled. But still, this year saw Lumberjanes do way better than anyone was expecting and become one of the big smash hits of the year, with the writer of Lumberjanes now going on to be penning Thor next year. And she's got a comic coming out in Sensation Comics.
Oh, and actually, to take it back to Wonder Woman movie with a female director.
Wonder Woman movie with female director. Also, Sensation Comics came out this year. Sensation Comics, the second Wonder Woman lead comic, where now we have the Wonder Woman comic, Sensation Comics featuring Wonder Woman, and Superman and Wonder Woman, and Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
So she has two of her own title lead comics, and that one's an anthology where you can just tell all different kinds of Wonder Woman stories. So that's pretty freaking awesome. Also, Bee and Puppy Cat came out this year and was actually really successful, surprisingly. Just in general, it's been a really good year for women in comics. Also, hey, Captain America, now Sam Wilson. That's pretty awesome.
I will agree.
Bucky Barnes has his own lead comic, and it's openly exploring issues of gender identity and identity in general. And we got Agent Carter.
Yes, that
Agent
is.
Carter doesn't end until next year, and I don't care because I'm just so dang happy. Like, Agent Carter happened this year. And we found out that Peggy is getting a solo comic next year. So it's been a really good year for ladies in comics. Oh, and I can't believe I forgot to mention this. Ms. Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
Ms. Marvel did awesome.
Miss Marvel has been like the big surprise hit of the year.
Yeah, which is great.
People love her.
Because it's great. So, yeah. In terms of TV, I guess I'm a little more like, about TV, even though TV, I love TV. But I would say one of my big winners for the year is the CW. The CW gets a lot of crap for being a TV network openly aimed at teenage and young women. Like, let's be clear, no one thinks that the CW isn't aimed predominantly at women from the ages of 14 to 30.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's what the CW does. And it gets a lot of crap for it, which stinks, honestly. But this year was the year when people started being like, oh, yeah, by the way, it's on the CW, and also it's a really good show. Jane the Virgin was a surprise hit, and that's a show about predominantly Hispanic and Latina characters, about a young woman. Huge chunks of the dialogue are in Spanish. It's in the format of a telenovela, which is a Spanish soap
Mhm.
opera, and it's completely geared at women. And it's a hit. And everybody loves it. And people are talking about how it's the best show that came out this year. Reign did really well this year. Like I said, The 100 surprised everyone by being a show where the two leads are a man of color and a young woman, and everybody likes it. Everybody who's watched it. Not enough people watch it. And then you have Arrow and The Flash, which both have pretty diverse casts and have continued to do very well. And they're on the CW. I would say the CW's biggest real lead foot right now is that would be Supernatural, which is going away soon. Thank goodness. Before it destroys all the memory of when it was good.
It's not bad, it's just flat.
Patrick, Supernatural has gone full way through into bad.
I still enjoy it. I just kind of
come back on being entertaining again.
Yeah.
But let's go. I want you to name the last time you watched an episode of Supernatural and thought that was a genuinely good episode of television. Not just entertaining, good.
Yeah, I can't say that for a full episode. I can say there are moments in episodes that were really good.
That's like really bad.
But I can't say it for a full episode, yeah.
Since like season 8.
Even like the 200th episode, there were moments of it that I'm like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, that's one. So kill the zombie show. And let's get more of the stuff that people clearly do like.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So I would say big winners this year is Diverse Media, because Diverse Media did really well this year. I think in large part due to the real life crap happening.
Yeah.
So that's kind of sad. But at the same time, hey, I think something good came out of the real life.
At least the TV's good.
Yeah, I mean, at least there is a silver lining.
At least I got my stories.
Well, no, because it does make sense. Because I go over this a lot on my blog, but representation in media is very critical to how we perceive people in the real world. So the fact that media this year has been very diverse, while we've been going through stuff like Ferguson and the NYPD horrificness, with incredibly targeted racial attacks and stuff like Gamergate with very codified misogyny. The fact that this stuff is happening simultaneously means that it is apt to get better soon. In all honesty, like, you look at stuff like this and it looks horrible in the moment, but then you realize that the culture's already tipped. These are the last gasps of a dying system.
Well, you kind of need those horrific things to push for a better, like, because it isn't until like a problem gets to the point where it just explodes that people finally start dealing with it. It's a sad fact about human nature is we will ignore stuff until it's critical.
Yeah. But also just going in and seeing, the media that we are now exposed to is much more diverse. And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It really is. So.
Well, I mean, if you look at TV, one of the most successful TV writers right now, Shonda Rhimes, a black woman, has 3 shows that are all extremely popular.
Yeah, they're all exceptionally popular, and 2 of which the lead is a black woman.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice. So you just kind of have to, like...
And even Grey's Anatomy has been trying to diversify its cast.
Who has?
Grey's Anatomy.
I don't watch that. I
I
watched,
pretty much watch all three shows, like Grey's Anatomy, then Scandal, then How to Get Away with Murder. I just watch them back to back to back.
and then when Scandal came out, I think I was busy with something else, and I was like, I don't physically have time for this. But How to Get Away with Murder, I made time.
Scandal I love because it's the anti-West Wing.
Oh God.
I mean, I loved the West Wing, but the West Wing was always like, everything we do is good, and politics is there to help, and gee golly, how can we make the country a better place today? And Scandal is just like, everything is dirty and filthy, and we're all evil.
Um,
Government is wrong.
okay.
I'm actually
Oh,
writing another blog entry about that.
this has been a bad year for people trying to capitalize on the nostalgia of millennials.
Yes.
Been a very bad year for that because it doesn't work. No one went to see the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Just
I
like
did.
no one.
I
You are
would.
apparently not a person. No, but
I'm
didn't it make
ashamed.
something disgustingly low?
Hmm?
Didn't it make a disgustingly low amount of money?
It didn't make a lot, but it was like, I think it made enough that they're making another one.
Really?
Because,
Ugh.
like, and hey, they're probably going to make another Transformers one, even though that was god-awful.
But at the same time, like, did we talk about those movies? No. Nobody really
No.
talked about those movies.
I cried about them a few times.
What did
Like, why are you doing this to my childhood? Why?
you have to go see them?
You know what? I don't know. I mean, the Turtles I had hope for, but I don't know why I went to go see the Transformers movie.
I don't know why you did either.
Because it was the fourth one. I've seen all of them. The only analogy I can make is like, it's like a battered spouse. It's just like, but he still loves me, and I can change, and I can be
That's
better.
battered spouses.
I don't know why. I think I just have a masochistic side to me. It's like, I want to be hurt.
Well, that was an interesting delve into your psychology.
Well, I mean, especially I went to go see this, and Mark Wahlberg was the star.
Oh,
I'm like,
Mark Wahlberg is in a lot of movies. I do
yeah,
not
but
know most
he was put in this one, and it's like, somehow I thought that would make it better, and it didn't.
Okay, I'm gonna skip merrily past your emotional problems. Um, what are you looking forward to most next year?
Next year?
Mhm.
Oh, that's easy. Avengers 2.
And what else?
And Star Wars.
Was that next year? I thought that was the year after.
No, that's coming this summer or next
Actually,
summer,
Star
2015.
Wars is not on the list of things I'm super looking forward to.
Oh, come on! Didn't
We'll
you
go
see the
see it.
trailer with the 3 lightsabers and the Millennium Falcon was flying and?
Yeah. I'm really excited for Agent Carter.
Yes,
I'm also
Agent
excited
Carter.
for.
I'm excited for Agent Carter.
I'm really excited for Spider-Gwen. I'm actually stupid excited for Spider-Gwen.
I am annoyed because I could not find the issue of Spider-Verse where she debuted. It's
I
sold
have that.
out like completely.
I specifically requested just that one. I didn't want any of the other ones. I just wanted that one.
Well, I'm actually digging on Spider-Verse. It's a very cool storyline.
I don't. It was really funny at the comic book shop. I was telling the guy like, okay, so I want to. Well, it was funny because my normal guy wasn't there because I went on the wrong day, and so the people, and not even my normal guy, like everyone I know from this shop, where I go every week, nobody was there, and it was this person who I'd never met before in my life. And so we're going over, and I'm like, yeah, I want to add a couple comics and stuff. So I'm listing off the ones that I want to add, and he's going, oh, so you're like really into Spider-Man, right? No, I'm just really into comics with ladies in them. But thanks. But yeah, so I'm really excited about Spider-Gwen, just because I did read her origin comic, and it is freaking awesome. She is in a band called the Mary Janes, and one
Oh
of
my
her
god.
songs is Face It Tiger, and she's the drummer, and like it goes into the whole, hey, Gwen Stacy and Captain Stacy is her dad, and she has conflict with her own father. And then it goes into like Peter Parker is dead in her backstory. Peter Parker is
Mhm.
fridged in her backstory. And it just filled me with
I
like
knew
such
that
a
because I read
ugh.
like
It filled me with such a sense of like, thank you. Thank you. Not
well
that I
that did make sense.
dead, but because, if you're gonna make Gwen dead in Peter's backstory, it makes sense to do it the
Yeah.
other way around.
Yeah.
And just, oh, it was so good. And like her Mary Jane is her best friend, and they're punk rock geniuses. I have so many feelings about Spider Gwen, and I'm so
I'm looking forward to Spider-Gwen.
especially since, again, I wrote an article this summer about how much I loved the idea of Gwen being Spider Man, and then Edge of Spider Verse came out, and I was like, ah! And then Spider Gwen got her own comic. So, so it's been a really good year to be me. It's really where we're coming down on this. It's been a great year for me personally. Oh, and I'm really excited. I'm really excited about Orphan Black season 3. I'm super
Hmm.
excited about the Orphan Black comic.
There's an
They're making
Orphan
a
Black
really
comic.
fun, and I everything I'm seeing about it is like, oh, this is going to be really good. So, oh, and it's just in general, I there's a lot of really cool stuff coming out next year that I'm pretty pumped about. So, yeah. You? Any last thoughts?
Um, I am excited for, as I said, I'm excited for Agent Carter. I'm excited for Age of Ultron. I'm excited for new Star Wars. Um, I'm just excited. I'm just looking for. I just think some good stuff is going to happen this year.
It's going to be a good year.
It's going to be a pretty good year.
And with that note, I think we're done for the year.
I think we are. We are done. We shall be back sometime in 2015.
Woohoo! We lived.
Yep.
Technology failures, busy schedules, Dan disappearing off the face of the earth.
He'll be back
He needs us too much.
someday. When we need him most, he will be back.
What are we going to need him most for?
I don't know. I'm just trying to be.
What? None of us can reach whatever's on the top shelf?
Hey, I'm tall enough to reach. I'm taller than Dan.
Dan is 6.5 feet tall.
Oh, is he? Oh, well.
Yes.
I'm shorter than Dan, but I've got
Yes.
good reach.
Okay.
All right. I will see you next year.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.